in Texas. But that does not mean that California should fix the elections because of that. Two wrongs don't make a right.
You don't buy what Governor Newsom's saying?
Of course not. Look, I've sat there in Sacramento. I've listened to the politicians for 7 years. They are not interested in giving any power to the people. The only interest that they have is to take power away from the people and grab it themselves. So this gives them a great opportunity by saying, oh, we have to fight Trump. Let's go.
Schwarzenegger just dropped a political dumbbell straight on Gavin Newsom's head. And honestly, California hasn't been this entertained since the last blackout. The Terminators swapped flexing muscles for flexing opinions. And let's just say Newsom probably wishes Judgment Day had stayed on the big screen. So buckle up, because when the Governator calls you out, it's not a debate, it's a full-blown cinematic roast powered by protein shakes and pure chaos.
Issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because you don't want to miss this. California might need a new state anthem after this one. Arnold Schwarzenegger just remixed the whole political playlist. The guy who once fought killer robots is now going toe-to-toe with modern bureaucracy. And somehow Gavin Newsom ended up as the final boss. You know things are getting wild when the Terminator looks at California and says, "I'll be back," but only after the taxes calm down.
You know, it's like there's some challenges all over the world. Los Angeles has its challenges, and I hope to solve the challenges very quickly, and that the federal government and the state and the locals all can work together in solving those problems.
I'm sure you're glad you don't have to be a decision maker anymore, or do you wish you were?
I would be more than happy to make this decision.
What's your view on what should happen nationwide when it comes to redistricting? Arnold didn't hold back. He said it's a huge mistake for California to dismantle its independent redistricting commission just to grab more power or fight Trump. But this wasn't just a political statement, it was pure Schwarzenegger theater. You could practically see him leaning back, lighting a cigar, and declaring that California needs more muscle and less nonsense. When the former governor, who once ruled the state with charm and protein shakes, starts lecturing the current one, you know the drama's better than a Hollywood reboot.
Your view in terms of what should happen nationwide when it comes to redistricting?
Well, first of all, in California, it's a big mistake to go and to dismantle and to basically kind of get rid of the independent redistricting commission under the auspices of we got to have more power than the Republicans and we got to fight Trump.
Because Gavin Newsom isn't just a politician anymore, he's a full-blown brand. His hair has more structure than California's economy, and his speeches sound like TED Talks written by a PR team paid in almond milk. Yet somehow, it's Arnold who's bringing the real fire, calling out the mess in the same state he once ran like a gym coach with executive authority.
Further, when I was governor, by working together with the Democrats, by letting them know they're not the enemy, that I am a strong believer that if we want to go and make California successful or America successful, we can do this the best possible way by having Democrats and Republicans work.
The funniest part is, Arnold probably didn't even mean to cause an earthquake. He likely tossed out a casual remark about California's leadership, and suddenly Sacramento was shaking like a 9.0. The man sneezes, and political pundits act like it's gospel. You could practically feel the collective eye roll from across the Pacific. Newsom, who spends half his time trying to convince everyone that everything's fine, suddenly found himself roasted by the only man who can make climate change sound like a blockbuster pitch. It's that perfect irony: one preaches power, the other calm, and both think they're saving the state. The timing couldn't have been funnier.
States of America. He doesn't believe in that. He believes in the red states. He's going after, there's a war. He's a wartime president. He's the head of a war party. War on women, war on voting rights, war on Hispanics, a war on this state, war on institutions, war on history. I mean, this is serious. This guy's trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize. That's what he's going to try to say tomorrow in Alaska, that he's the big guy trying to find peace. Really? when he's bringing.
Newsom's been strutting around as the golden boy of progressive politics, eyeing the national stage, and then bam, Arnold drops a verbal dumbbell right to the jaw. It's like California's karma showed up wearing sunglasses and a leather jacket. Arnold's message was simple. Yeah, my era had chaos, but at least people could afford rent. Now, Newsom's probably wishing for an invisibility cloak, preferably one sustainably made from recycled scandals. Naturally, the internet lost it. Twitter sorry, X split in two. Half were cheering Arnold's savage honesty, while the rest defended Newsom like he's the last avocado tree in the state. Memes exploded faster than housing prices, and somewhere, Elon Musk was likely dropping popcorn emojis. Both sides looked hilariously cinematic, one's an action flick, the other's a documentary pretending everything's fine while the lights keep flickering.
To fight for democracy and to get rid of your democratic principles. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing against Newsom. We don't have a fight over this at all.
Yeah, because you guys met. What was that like when you guys met together?
It was a wonderful meeting. He told me what he felt. I told him, I said, I totally get it, because this is what you need to do to be the leader of the party. I totally get it, but I'm not a party person, I said. I'm a people's person. I always will fight.
Arnold's critique wasn't just political, it was personal. You could tell he's still emotionally attached to California, like a guy driving past his old mansion and watching it crumble under new ownership. He probably tried to stay quiet, but there's only so much dysfunction you can watch before your inner Terminator takes over. Newsom, of course, played it cool, smile, deflect, talk about innovation, the classic California PR move. But deep down, you know, he's fuming. Getting publicly called out by Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't something you just shrug off. It's like being roasted by a legend who once had your job and somehow made it look fun. And Arnold's never been one for subtlety. He doesn't critique, he body slams. His style of diplomacy is all strength, swagger, and the occasional reminder to crush your enemies. One's built like a tank, the other like a luxury electric car, and Californians know exactly which one breaks down first when the power grid goes dark.
Lastly, Brad, what's Arnie the Terminator up to in California?
So he's upset now about gerrymandering in California and in Texas. There's basically this big back and forth that's going on where in Texas, Republicans are planning on doing mid-decade gerrymandering, which is redrawing the legislative districts to give yourself more seats in Congress by kind of choosing your voters. This is something Democrats have historically been against and wanted to ban, but now they're saying they will do it too in response. So
let's be real, when Arnold calls out Newsom, he's also calling out himself. He helped build this circus. He's basically the founding father of California's celebrity politics. Without him, Newsom might still be practicing speeches in front of a mirror. It's a full circle moment, the mentor turned critic, the original showman scolding his successor for forgetting his lines. The irony's thicker than a protein shake. The state that turned politics into an entertainment franchise is now watching its past and present fight for top billing. It's the Expendables, Sacramento edition. And what better way for Arnold to reclaim the spotlight than by taking a jab at California's current poster boy? Meanwhile, Newsom's probably pacing in front of that same mirror, rehearsing his comeback. But how do you clap back at a man who's already a living meme? You can't outcool Arnold. You can't outfame him. All you can do is hope the next wildfire, flood, or tech scandal distracts everyone before your approval ratings melt faster than ice cream in an LA heatwave.
out here criticizing Trump and Gavin Newsom for doing it. I'm not sure he'll be able to actually do anything about it. It's kind of baked into our political system, but things are fine. Things are going amazing here. We're just kind of in a perpetual race to the bottom of who can take the shadiest step next to kind of rig the political system in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, do we expect anything else from the pin-up boy for stupidity, Newsom? No.
Arnold's criticism landed because it came from experience. He knows how tough it is to manage California's chaos, but he also knows when someone's making it harder than it needs to be. His unspoken message was simple: stop treating this state like a social experiment and just fix the damn potholes. Californians don't want TED Talks about renewable energy while their cars disappear into sinkholes. They want leadership that actually delivers, not one that just photographs. Well, that's why Arnold's jab hits so hard. He's not just mocking policy, he's mocking the whole aesthetic of modern politics, where leaders pose like influencers and speak like life coaches but can't keep the lights on. That's his magic, the mix of blunt honesty and over-the-top flair that made him a legend. You can almost hear him say, "When I was governor, we lifted California up, literally and somehow." You'd believe him, because even when he exaggerates, it feels more real than half the sound bites coming from politicians today.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is against what Gavin Newsom is doing in California. And that should tell you something. Here's what's going on in California if you don't know. Gavin Newsom is pushing a plan that would weaken the state's independent redistricting commission. The commission was created to make sure that election maps are fair. No political party rigging the lines. But Newsom's proposal could give more control back to the politicians. And that's where Arnold comes in. Remember, Schwarzenegger is a Republican, but he's not necessarily a Trump guy. Yet even Arnold Schwarzenegger says this move by Newsom is wrong.
The media went wild, turning Arnold's comments into headline gold. Commentators broke it down like a heavyweight bout, half calling him bold, half calling him out of touch. Meanwhile, the rest of America just stared, wondering why California politics always feels like a Netflix original. But Arnold's moment revealed something deeper: the state's identity crisis. California wants to be a moral leader, a climate hero, a tech utopia, yet it can't even keep gas prices under $7. And Arnold basically said what everyone's been thinking: stop trying to save the world and fix California first. That's the genius of his mix of honesty and showmanship. You can't tell if he's campaigning or just trolling, but either way, his punchlines hit harder than most policies. Facts fade, charisma lasts, and in that arena, Arnold's still the champ. The clash between him and Newsom perfectly sums up California itself: polished on the surface, crumbling underneath, and Arnold just had the nerve to say it out loud, with enough swagger to make it trend.
This movie star and former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is preparing to battle Governor Newsom over Newsom's redistricting efforts. Ashley, explain to us how Schwarzenegger is planning to fight against Newsom.
He's back. The former governor of California, he's back. He has a beef with the current governor, and he says democracy is at stake. Schwarzenegger is angry with Newsom for planning to redistrict California, who are doing that in response.
In the middle of all the chaos, you can almost hear Californians collectively sighing, tired of polished incompetence. Arnold became their unfiltered voice, the guy saying what every other public figure's PR team would never allow. But don't mistake it for a random outburst. This is strategic. Every word is part of the Arnold Legacy Project, a reminder that while today's leaders post about progress, the old guard actually got things done, even if it sometimes involved budget cuts and a few awkward movie cameos. Still, the whole thing is pure spectacle to wealthy, camera-ready men competing over who loves California more. It's like a political beauty pageant for men who refuse to age gracefully. One's got the tan and the teeth, the other's got the muscles and the memories. And the irony is perfect: a man who spent his career pretending to save the world now scolding another for pretending to save the state. It's hypocrisy in high definition, and honestly, it's glorious.
I have a lot of people here in Australia talking to me about Gavin Newsom, asking what I think about him. And I feel like this is one of those moments that's very revealing about the guy's character. I mean, if he's going to be so petty about this, is everything just going to be this political fight, turning everybody into either friends or enemies?
Yeah, it's a bad look for sure. And it's something he shouldn't really be engaging with. He should just honor the ex-governor, who's obviously a huge movie star and a pop culture icon, and just leave it there. I mean, I think
Arnold might not be running for office, but he's definitely running laps around modern politicians when it comes to authenticity. He doesn't need consultants or slogans. His entire persona is the slogan. And when he calls out someone like Newsom, the contrast is cinematic. Newsom talks about progress. Arnold talks about action. Newsom tweets. Arnold lifts. Newsom forms committees. Arnold builds gyms. One's polished, the other's primal, and in politics, primal wins hearts faster. Sure, the story will fade like every news cycle, but the image will stay, the former governor smirking, while the current one struggles to stay composed. It's political theater at its finest, and scripted, absurd, yet completely believable. Every California leader eventually faces the Terminator's judgment, a symbolic torch passing where the torch is on fire and held by a man who refuses to age. Maybe that's the moral here. Politics has become entertainment, and entertainment has become politics. Arnold's just blurring the very line he helped create. Newsom might be the sequel, but the original still owns the fan base. Lately, Arnold's even been calling out Trump, calling gerrymandering evil, no matter who's behind it. And a recent Instagram photo of him in a shirt that read, "F the politicians, terminate gerrymandering," made his stance clear. The headlines will fade, new scandals will rise, but one truth remains: when Arnold speaks, people listen not because he's always right, but because he's entertaining. And in California, that's more powerful than competence. Somewhere, a political consultant is crying into a kale smoothie, realizing that no amount of polling can compete with pure charisma. Newsom can pretend none of this happened, but the internet never forgets. That clip of Arnold calling him out will live forever, a digital monument to California's endless drama. Because in this state, the explosions aren't on movie sets anymore, they're real. They're loud, and sometimes they wear sunglasses. And that's how Arnold Schwarzenegger once again became California's most talked about man without lifting a single weight, just a few eyebrows.